Hello everyone. Today we're going to create our first Android app using Android Studio. If you don't have Android Studio downloaded yet, I'm going to leave the link in the description so you can download it. So when you download Android Studio, you're going to have this screen. Just select your new project, and if you're going to create a simple application, let's just select empty activity and press next. Here you give the name of your application, hello world, and also you can choose the language, Java and Kotlin. In our case, we're going to be using Kotlin because it's a more modern language. And we can also choose what's going to be the minimum SDK that's going to support our application. In this case, it comes with the API 21, Android 5. I'm just going to keep it like that for now. So let's finish. And Android Studio is going to build the whole thing for you initially. So it takes a second. So if you navigate on the left panel, I like using the project version because I think it's easier to find the files. If you go to app, source, main, you're going to see the Java folder, and you're going to see that we have a main activity. So that's going to be the first activity that's going to be open in the app. And if you go to res and select layout, you're going to see all the layouts in the app. Every time you create a project, it comes with the main one, so we already have this main layout. And you're going to see that in the main layout, we already have this label that says hello world. So right now, without doing anything, if you just run your app, again, takes a second the first time. There we go. So you already have your first app with the label hello world. But since we are here, let's do something more complex and start learning some more advanced items. So with this label, we can delete it, and we can start putting another UI components on the screen. So let's put a text label, and you see that they have the circles around it. That's how you give the constraints and position your item on the screen. Let's just position here. And you can also select the distance you want. So let's select 32. Let's also put a text, add text view. So if you go here and select text input, or plain text, we can also give these some constraints. You see that the placeholder says name. It's not, doesn't need to be a name, so we want to change that. Or let's just delete it and keep it with no placeholder for now. Let's give it a space here, 20. And let's also add a button and give the constraints. Let's give a space here from the top, from the input text. Okay, so we have an edit text, a text view, and a button. What we are trying to do here is we want to be able to write a text here on this edit text, and when we press the button, we want to set that text inside of our text view. So for that, we have to add some IDs to our UI components. So we see that this one already have a ID of text view. Let's make sure everything has a ID, edit text, and button. Okay. Now to implement the functionality and use those UI components, we go to our main activity and we have to make references to those UIs, and so we can manipulate the data inside of them. So first one, let's make a text view, var text view. To create a reference to that UI component, we have to use a function inside Android Studio called find view by ID. So find view by ID. Here we have to pass what type of view we are talking about. So here we know it's a text view, and we have to pass that ID. To access that ID, we use the r.id. The name you put inside of the component. In our case, we put text view. So we have a reference to the text view. Now let's create a reference to the edit text. Find view by ID, edit text, and the ID is r.id.edit text. And a reference for the button, var button equals find view by ID, type of button, and the ID is r.id.button. So when we press the button, we want to put the text from the edit text inside of the text view. So to access the button function of the click, we have to use button.set on click listener. So every time we click the button, this function is going to be called. And when this function is being called, we want the text view dot text to receive the edit text dot text. And here, since the text view is going to be receiving that text, we also want to clear our edit text. Okay, so we're just gonna set it to no. Okay, if we run this application now, we should be able to perform those actions. So here we have the 3 UI components that we created. We want to type a message here, testing. And when I press the button, I want this testing to display inside our text view. So if you press it, you see that it worked. I don't know what I'm typing here. I'm just like typing random stuff. I'm not very creative. So press again, and there we go. It's inside there again. So yep, that's it for now. You already have your first Android application. Thank you so much.